We need to redo that video, but I need to remember what the song is because I like it. I'm always like, like if you could see us underneath, we're both always like, as the show's coming on, because you can't even help it. Yeah, you can't. I wonder if anybody that happens to tune in, if they also can't help but to dance to that song. That would be something great to know. I would love to know that.
That would be
Hello.
Cool.
Somebody called us lovely ladies, and it's this Facebook user. So
hey, now's Facebook the time. User?
Now's the time of day where we try to guess who you are.
I don't know who you
several
are.
People. Could be several people. So for all of you who don't know who we are, this is Spontaneity with Stacey and Maria, and we are Stacey and Maria. She has a dress that looks just like that on top. Oh, Stina, I have it. It's a dress. Let me see. It's a dress. It's a dress. It's a dress. All right, it's a dress.
Oh my God.
So, all right. So, for people that haven't tuned in, they're probably like, what the actual beepity beep 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 is this show? So this is Spontaneity with Stacey and Maria, and we are about living life more spontaneously. Hence the random jumping up and down to show that I had a dress on to Tina, and that was an important part of my day. So, and yes, good, wear it tonight. We can be twinning. So yeah, so Spontaneity. Hashtag 20. So yeah, Spontaneity. You know, I have come to the point that I love the whole premise behind the show. Because honestly, it's what life is about. And it seems like it's not, because it's like spontaneity. I mean, what do you know spontaneity? But it's like, seriously, we've talked about this a lot over the last few weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, 20. So yeah, we talk about this a lot the last few weeks, though, just about the fact that we all want to live a spontaneous, happy, adventurous life, really, really deeply experienced life. But how do you do that? What does that even mean? Right. And so we've been dialing back to try to kind of pull apart just that very question because, to be able to have the luxury, we'll call it, of being able to be spontaneous, you have to really kind of pre-plan your life. And those seems like those are polar opposite things. It's like, well, I want to be spontaneous. I don't want to plan at all. But you have to have a level of planning to allow yourself the ability to be able to have spontaneous moments in your life. And, we've talked a lot the last few weeks about priorities and values and our actions and our mindset and all the things, because it all goes in together. And I'm assuming this is still Tina. I'm going to get really confused if another Facebook user comes on and then it's like, so we're going to call a Facebook user just for the purpose of the show right now, Tina. So I'm sorry if it's not Tina, but I'm assuming it is. Says being spontaneous is the best. Living in the now is so important. And I think it is so important. But to be able to really be able to do that, you do have to have some level of looking ahead to the future on laying out your path of where you want to be. And also looking back to be able to look at things that worked and what didn't work. And I'm not a fan of like living in the past because that can be terrible.
Detrimental.
Yeah. But it is super important to look back and be like, okay, you know what? I hated that. That sucked. I don't ever want to feel like that again. And use that to be able to make, your plan for the future. So what says you, Stacey Price?
Yeah,
Price
absolutely.
on purpose?
Hey. So... Not absolutely, because you know what the funny thing is? Like, I was watching this video, like I go on YouTube to listen to a lot of inspirational speeches, guides, things like that. And they were talking about like how to start your day off and like really how to like move forward, like really move forward. And that's why I was thinking about like that and like something Joyce Meyer was saying, like talking about like why, like what's your motive, right? Like what is your motive? Because the thing is like we could all just do things just to do it, right? But I don't think it's really going to stick unless you attach it to what that result is, right? Like you could be like, oh, like, or even for me, I was like, okay, I gotta get up at 4 a.m. every single get up.
I do remember that. I remember that.
Like 4 a.m. Yeah, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna crush it. I had no idea what crush it meant.
No.
For me.
Well, and let's also note, I think this is important for the users to understand, because I've done it with different things too. You were like 4 a.m. 4 a.m. is where it's at. When I get up at 4 a.m., life is magically going to line out. But what happens? You get up at 4 a.m. and you're like exhausted by 5 p.m. And the next day you sleep until like 11 a.m. And then you beat yourself up the rest of the day. You're like, I stopped, I quit everything. And so you got into this. And I remember having this conversation with you because I've been there. And so that's the funny thing about having been there before. You see it really clearly after you've been there. You're like, oh, girl, who says you have to get up at 4 a.m.? I don't care what book you read. No. Yeah, no, thank you. So that's what I'm saying. It kind of depends on your own natural biorhythm. Some people, 4 a.m. is where it's at, and they naturally are early risers. I'm an early riser. 4 a.m. is a little too early for me. I still consider that night, but I am a morning person. But some people are night owls. They're just naturally night owls. And I think that is what people need to focus about. Focus on the productivity of the day and not what time that is for you. So anyway, continue with what you're saying. I wanted to throw that out there because I know there's probably a lot of people who are going to listen to this and be like, because I even see like memes all the time. It's like, if you're not up at 5 a.m., then pretty much you might as well go back to bed. If you're all this stuff, and it's like
beating you up. Beating you up because you didn't
get it's like 5:23. You're like, I quit. I'm done.
It's so true. Let me see what she says. I don't believe the people who say they only require 4 hours of sleep. It's so funny. Like some people, like they can do it, and some can't. And what she said,
I think it depends. If I'm gonna make them. She was making fun of the memes. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, okay, requiring. I think that's a statement. Bring that statement back up. So it says, I don't believe the people who say they only require 4 hours of sleep. Technically, people always are going to require more than 4 hours of sleep. Now, that doesn't mean you can't survive on less than the 8 hours that you need. But technically, the human body, to be able to really, rejuvenate and reset and repair, needs 8 hours of sleep. Now, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I was that person that thought that I had to get everything done, and I had to do it all myself because I wasn't, delegating, deleting all my own rules that I try to follow now. I say try because sometimes it's rough, but I was getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep, but I paid for it with my hormones and stuff. So, I think there are people that they think they're only requiring 4 hours of sleep because they're just in that survival mode. But if you burn the candle at both ends and in the middle and on all the sides, you are going to crash and burn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough place to be in with that burnout, let me tell you. She said, yes, you can live, but do you want to? Because you totally need to
burn out.
Cells to regenerate. Yeah, cell regeneration. Okay. But
we'll just leave that there.
Yeah, it's like, let's go to wellness. Yeah, but like, that's the thing. Like, I had to realize, like, what was my motive in that aspect? Like, what was I looking for? Like, what was the real result of why did I feel like I had to get up at that time? And I was like, leading into my time management, I wasn't managing my time right. So in my mind, the way I interpret it is that if I got up earlier, that just magically, this like leprechaun from Lucky Charms is going to be like, you're magically delicious. Like everything's just going to fall into place and you're not going to have to work. You know what? You're going to be done by like 12 noon and the rest of your day is your oyster. Like that's what I was thinking. And then I would start to get up at 4 a.m. and I'm like, I feel good. I'm up because I do like the feeling of being up before everybody else. I absolutely love it. But the thing is, it's like, literally by like 8 a.m., I was like, you know what time it is? It's a great time for a nap. And then what would happen is that nap would last until 2 p.m. And then I'm like, like I missed everything. So I had to realize like, okay, what really is the purpose of this? Okay, you want to get stuff done? How about this? Let's get up at a better time, which for me is like maybe 8 a.m., sometimes 10. Get up at that time. And I like the thing that you actually said, Maria. You were like, what are the top 3 things I need to get done? Like what, like really, like, yes, I have, this is my to-do list, but what is what has to get done today? Once I started to do that, which I'm in practice with, but once I started to do that, I'm like, oh, okay. All right. And then there's this feeling of getting those top 3 things done that is so relieving. Like, I feel like there's this like weight lifted. It's like, because my issue was, it's like, I have 10 things to do, and I feel like I have to get 10 done today. And if I don't get 10 done today, guess who you Stacey, you failed.
Oh,
you
yeah.
failed.
And that starts the whole thing.
The cycle. The cycle.
I know the cycle. I know that cycle well.
Yeah. So I had to realize that. I'm like, all right, okay, let's like reset and like let's really figure out like what we need to do, but most importantly, why we need to do it. And
absolutely.
And that's that beauty. That's that beauty right there.
Yeah. And I like that you called it a practice.
Yeah.
Because it is a practice. Just like I do yoga and instruct yoga some here and there. And yoga is a practice. You never perfect it. It's not like you become, the best at yoga. You're done with yoga. It's a practice. You do it every day. Yeah, it would be funny. I was like, I've phased out of this method of my life. That would be amazing. I'm not there. But anyway, the point is it is a practice. And these things are practices too. And they're called a practice because you're always fine tuning. You're always adjusting. Life's going to change. And the way that you're doing life is going to change along with it. It needs to. If you stay rigid while life's changing, you trust me. Oh my God. Stay rigid and a life's going to go like this and you're going to crash and burn. See, Tina said, 7 and sometimes 8 works for me, but if I go to bed super late, it's whatever, as long as I did what I have to do on my own circadian rhythm. But yes, I agree with setting goals, like with Stacey, with what Stacey was saying. So time is relative, but not always important. So yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, that everybody kind of has their own internal rhythm, how that's working inside. Like, and if you're naturally a morning person, great, utilize your high energy time. I always say high energy time because it doesn't matter what time that is. Whatever your high energy time is, focus on that and plan your day around that. Yes. I don't care if it's 4 a.m. I don't care if it's noon. I don't care if it's 11 p.m. Whatever that looks like for you. I am definitely not a night owl. For all of you that started watching the show and we had it at 7 p.m., you probably have realized that on your own without me saying that. I'm like a whole nother human at this time of day on the show. Like a whole nother human. It's like body double. But I'd be like this, like trying to stay awake and snapping jokes just to stay awake, and it's crazy. But anyway, point is, that's not my rhythm. And every time I try to push myself outside of my rhythm, which sometimes you have to kind of go with the flow of things. But, if this is a planned weekly thing that we were planning at 7 p.m. and I knew that I am not a 7 p.m. planning type of person, it did not work well for very long. I could have done it for like a week or two. Yeah, bring the wine after 7. Yeah, really. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if I'm not expected to bring anything of value, I'm your girl. I'm your girl. I can sit back and chill, and half the time the stuff that's coming out of my mouth, most of the people that work with me and for me are like, why would you even say that? I'm like, I don't know. This is 7 p.m. Maria. It's a whole different Maria. Felt good at the time.
Yeah, I think everybody has their own like sweet spot of what time works best for them. Like, the funny thing is, when I used to work 7 to 5, for some reason at 2 p.m., it's like, I don't know. There was like certain times in a day where I used to be like at like a job, and that's where like all my ideas and creativity was sparking. And I had to ask myself, because I was just like, okay, like, why is that happening? Like, because what I was trying to do is work a 7 to 5, then come home and then apply time to like my show and things like that. And it really wasn't working for me, because by the time I'm done with that 7 to 5, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. So I found myself like on the phone taking calls, but then right now, like, ideas and everything. And I'm like, all right, I got to get the heck out of here, because I need to utilize this time to like bring that energy to my stuff. You know what I mean? But everybody has their different time. And I think that's the thing, because just like I was trying to apply somebody else's rhythm to my life. And I had to realize I needed to apply or find out what my rhythm is for my life. And I think that's the thing with a lot of people. They have to actually determine what their it thing is and why it's their it thing. And then that's going to implement into their how.
Absolutely. I mean, we say that a lot, like, what's your why? But what does that even mean? You know, so like when somebody says like, what's your why? The thing I like to try to tell people is like, what is it that you actually want? Like if you close your eyes and you picture your perfect life, the way that you want your life to be, that should be your why. Your why should be however you imagine your life to be. You close your eyes, the perfect day, the perfect month, the perfect year, the whatever. What does that look like? That is your why. And the steps that you're taking, the plans that you're making should always be in line to get you to that place. And that being said, it is okay that you decide to change. Like if I close my eyes today and imagine my perfect day and it looks one way right now, and next week you ask me and I close my eyes and it looks a different way, that's okay. You just start aligning things to go towards your new why, your new goal.
Absolutely, 110%. I like what Tina is saying. She's saying, you know, we can dictate our own schedules, especially when you're your own boss, and that's the best. Absolutely. And she mentioned to really envision it. And
apparently I'm on here.
Apparently you're on
Alex.
here.
It's probably Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Yeah. So I'm like really happy about our show. So I secretly logged in like,
You're like, hold on.
It's probably, it is Alex. Alex just texted me and said, oops, sorry. You don't have to be sorry. Oh my God. He said, you know what? It's good. I just look like I'm really representing, and I'm just loving our show on here. A double Maria is terrifying, though. So, yeah, a double Maria. My husband would be very sad about that, actually. He can only deal with one Maria, trust me. Like, sometimes he's like, you're going to do me in. You're going to do me in. So, yeah.
I think everybody has those moments with their person.
I made a post, some meme this morning. Had the baby Yoda and said something like, you know, like,
oh yeah,
did you see it?
I was cracking up.
I was like, that's the most me thing ever, because I will blow everything out of proportion, and I'm like, oh okay, everything's fine now. My husband's like, you're getting over there like this, doesn't know what to do. Then all of a sudden I'm good because I got out of my system. I'm like, and then I feel better because it's like a pressure release valve.
Yeah, like, literally, I'll go into like full panic mode, and Natasha's just like, "Oh my God!" Like, "Oh my God!"
Do you pace and do you think? Do you?
It depends on. I pace when I'm inspired. That's the weird thing. I pace when I'm inspired. I pace when I'm
inspired too, but I also pace when I'm stressed or when I'm between mad and upset. If I'm super upset, I'm all like, all extra. If I'm super mad, I'm ready to like box. Like it's gonna be done. But if I'm in between that, I can't decide if I'm gonna cry or scream.
Right.
It's really terrible actually. The one time I was crying and eating pizza with the founders of IPA. Yeah.
Yo, I love this one here. Samesies.
Yeah.
Samesies.
Yeah. I'm telling you though, you know what? We are all humans. I'm assuming we're all humans. And as humans, we all have emotions. And I'm very, I guess I feel deeply, I guess is a great way of saying it.
Me too,
so if I'm super happy, you're going to know I'm super happy. If I'm super upset, you're going to know that I'm super upset. If I am mad, you are going to know that I'm mad. And that's my favorite thing. My husband will be like, are you mad at me? I'm like, do I seem like I'm mad at you? I was like, we've been married for a long time now. I mean, do I ever really hide the fact that I'm mad at you? He's like, no. So then you don't even need to ask because you'll know. If I'm mad, you're going to know.
Funny. I do the same thing with Natasha. I'm like, is everything okay? Like, are you? And she was like, look, I will let you know. And I'm like, because that like your eye didn't twinkle like it usually does. Like,
like that's my husband. He'll be like, I'm sensing that. I'm like, you're sensing wrong. You're sensing wrong because I'm not mad. I'm thinking about 1,000 things, and right now you're aggravating me, but you wasn't even on the list before this.
You ever do the thing where it's like, okay, so like, does he ever ask you like, are you sure you're all right? And then he asks you like again, and then you go, I'm fine. And because of that, he's just like, you don't sound fine. Yeah, you don't seem like you're fine. Your voice sounds like it's upset. And I'm like, well, I hate being asked, like, what's wrong? And I told you he asked me this last night. I'm laying there, and I've got like 5 bajillion, and yes, I know it's not a number, but it's now 5 bajillion things on my mind, and I'm trying to like shut up, go to sleep, push it in the back of my mind, because you know how it is. It's like, oh, I need to do this. I need to categorize the freezer. I need to do all these. Some of the things I put on my to-do list in my brain at night are like things that I don't even know why I would ever need to do them. But my brain tells me categorize your
categorize my freezer. I used to do that. So this
Is it,
I
wait, how do
really
you,
did.
now I need to know, like, is it
have-
like veggies?
I have multiple deep freezers. So
Okay, just in case there's an apocalypse. Totally get it.
well, we'll go
Totally
with that. I mean, I'm farming and yeah. So anyway, yes, categorize the freezers. So I haven't done it in a long time.
I was like, what?
I'm going to bring my binder. My binder, I have a binder, right? No, I do. I have a binder that hasn't been updated in so long because I'm busy with work stuff so much now. Yeah, I'm gonna bring it. So it would have my freezer inventory, it would have my cabinet inventory, it would have the cellar room inventory, it would have our, just any items that we had in the house, and I would keep an inventory. So for whatever reason, multiple times a week, my brain like yells at me that I no longer use this binder, that number one, I found on Pinterest and decided to redesign and put like so much of my life into it. And it worked for me for years, right? But that's not, not that it wouldn't help me now. It probably would. I have 2 seconds to get back to I have a binder, y'all. So I'm gonna have to bring it in. But point is I would benefit from using it again, but the time that it's gonna take to be able to get to where it's usable in my life, I haven't.
Alex, I'm done. But like, Maria, let me ask you something, because I need to understand this.
What?
So is it that it's literally, so you have a system in a binder of all the things that you have in your freezer.
We should use it past tense because it's not up to date. This is what I was saying last night. This is in my mind again going, you need to update your inventory. You haven't updated your inventory. And I have not updated my inventory for a year. So I have, but I'm going to bring it in. I need to bring it in next week so that I can show you.
Well, what's the purpose? It's just to make sure that you know what's available.
It is, yes. Because I like to meal prep. I like to plan. And I'm all about budgeting and saving money, and that's like a hobby. I'm like, oh, I can make this like organic awesome meal for this month. I don't know, it's like a sickness probably, but you know what, whatever, it's a good thing in some ways. But anyway,
I actually like this idea about this binder.
It's good and maybe we should do this. Maybe so if we can get in our group and we all make the binder together. Yeah, if we can all like get in there and make the binder together, then I'll update it. I just haven't had time. I'm like always so busy trying to do all these other things. It's not until I'm laying in bed at night, my brain's like, the binder.
Couponers.
The binder. Yeah, I don't do the extreme coupon. I don't do that. I do clips and coupons for that come in the mail to me from Kroger, and I'll use those. But as far as like scouring the internet, I don't have time for that. So I don't go that far. But, I like to plan and I don't like waste. I'm big on, not wasting. So that's another reason of planning what's in my freezer and my cabinet.
Then you know when
plan.
You need to use it by.
So
that's actually really smart.
I have not updated this in like a year. And like multiple times a week, my brain's like, you remember the binder and how long you spent on that? And you remember how much it helped you? Well, you remember how much that it helped you, and do you remember how great everything was and how prepared you were for your life? Because I know I've talked about this multiple times, and I know there's lots of other people out there like this. I feel like when I'm doing great in my business world, then my family life, my organization at my house, like right now my house is hit. I had to beg my 19th hit. It is hit. It is plum. This is a redneck term. I don't care. It has been hit.
I love it. I'm going to implement that.
It's terrible because we've been running in, throwing things wherever it goes, and we're like, my goal with the house at this moment is just to not be like condemnable, like not disgusting. But as far as like organized right now, that it is not. And I begged my 19-year-old, I'm like, please help me clean a little bit. I'm so behind. And my 19-year-old's like, I don't have to do it. But anyway, point is at nighttime, this is the stuff going through my brain because I'm also forcing myself to get enough sleep because like Tina was saying earlier, I used to be that person getting 3 and 4 hours sleep and my hormones suffered because of it. And I know I can't do that anymore. So I forced myself to go to bed. But then my brain still wants to be that person that slept 3 hours a night so I could get so much more done. So it's like, you didn't do this and you didn't do this and you didn't do this. And I'm laying there, my husband's like, what's wrong? Knowing that there's 0 times that is
Did
ever
you update the binder? No, no, you didn't update. That's why I'm at. That's why I'm at.
Yeah. So then he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing, because I'm like, don't even want to have a conversation. And he's like, no, see what says wrong. I could sense something's wrong. So then I just start like word vomiting everything. I'm like, well, I haven't done the binder and the house is demolished. And he's like, and he's like, you could feel him just like inching away. Really sorry for that. He's like, You could feel it. You could feel it. Like, yeah. Like he had to have realized that he just opened a can of worms with that one.
We need to like, Alex is too funny. Alex is like, what did Alex say? Hold on, let me find it.
Make sure you update your freezer for regular 50% off binders.
Yeah, like, but I actually like this idea about the binder because
it's a good idea.
I have trouble with, like, sometimes Natasha and I go to the grocery and then next thing you know, something's spoiled or whatever it is. I like this idea about the binder. I like the idea about the binder.
It was dry erase too. I didn't add that. So I would print out the sheets and they were in the little page protectors. I'm gonna bring it in. And it was dry erase. So you could, so good.
I actually like this because then
it is good.
You have a filing system like, okay, this needs to be used by this date or whatever the case is, and you could actually plan out your meals.
It's good. I'm telling you. I'm gonna bring it in. We are going to.
This sounds really interesting.
Maybe that's what we should do in the group. We've been talking about what to do in the group. We should make a binder.
In the group.
And then my brain will be so happy because I'll be able to remove that off of my nighttime Rolodex before I'm falling asleep of all the things that I haven't got done. So, I mean, it's like, I was like laying there like, binder app. There may be an app. I liked having that tangible, like I like online, and I really, really do, but I still have like a paper planner. I use my online Google Calendar like nobody's business, but I still want my paper planner. So, and I would probably be like that with my binder. But yeah, I have my binder. I'm going to bring my binder. A beauty binder. Girl, boy.
That could be for Tina.
Yeah, that's going to be for Tina because I don't know how to fix hair. I don't know any rules on makeup. My makeup case is ridiculously sad, and all my other friends who wear makeup make fun of it. So yeah, it's fine. So yeah, I'm gonna bring it in next week. It's gonna happen.
I wish, and if Mead ever hears this, like they need to provide this back. So I had this. I think I probably still have it at my parents' house. It was about like this big. It was the perfect size. You remember how Mead would make those cloth binders?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. So it was a planner, the perfect size planner with these little tiny sheets that fit in it. And it had like, it was just literally, it was the best planner I ever had. And I never found the replacement sheets. I don't even know if they provide it anymore, but it was like Velcro. I love that thing so much. But I used it and it had, remember back in the day when people put like phone numbers in a phone book? Like I had contacts with the little letters. Like
I know nobody's phone number now. Nobody's.
Yeah, it's just like, what's their name? You just tell Siri to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know anybody's number. Yeah.
Voice text Stacey. That goes wrong a lot though.
Yeah.
I really should stop voice texting. I won't stop voice texting, but I should because
I've actually tried to increase my time in voice texting only because like sometimes like if you're like we're talking, whatever, I'm driving, doing deliveries and stuff like that. I'm like, I always want to wait until like the next delivery to text. And I'm like, but I want to do it right now. And I'm like, all right.
I haven't got weird messages from yours though. I think it's because of my accent though. But I end up sending stuff. I'm like, oh no. Scratch that. That's not what I said. So I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine?
Voice text is great, though. I'm not
you just like use like certain words, like inappropriate words more than once. And then like Siri thinks you're saying that again. And then like you're trying to say something like really business and it doesn't come out that way.
Oh, like there's been some moments. There's been some moments. Tina says I always blame my accent. You know why? Because it's true. What is that? Rev.com that transcribes stuff for you.
Oh, really?
There's an app. Yeah, it's an app at Rev.com. Okay. You can send in stuff and it transcribes stuff. And I sent it, and the stuff that I got back, I need to find it. I paid to have it transcribed. They sent it back, and I was like, oh, well. But then I found out later that you can actually go in and mark that you have a Southern accent, and it's more accurate then.
Really?
Which I don't even know. Like, mine's muddled. My accent's muddled. I wouldn't even call it straight Southern. It's just like I have Southern-ish moments where you can tell that I grew up in Tennessee, but you can tell I live in Ohio now. I have a very muddled accent. And I use a lot of slang, which I didn't know. So it was like making up what I'm saying. I was like, Okay,
I love
well,
this thing. I'm like, my house is hit.
It's hit.
It's hit. I like that. I'm gonna start.
It's
Like
definitely hit.
this place is hit. We need to just get it together. We need to get the Windex. We need to get, the Lysol spray. We need to get this thing together.
Wait until you have kids. It's the freaking kids. It's the freaking, like, I don't even know where they get some of the stuff they get. I don't even know where they get it. Like, we end up with stuff in the house. Like, where did this even come from? Who gave you this? I didn't give you this. I have not seen you open this at any holiday. So where did this come from? And why is it all over my living room floor? It's just like, and they come in and there's like, whatever they have, they just like throw it. And I'm just like, it's depressing. I'm getting depressed now.
Please don't. I love this energy that you're bringing. Like, just
no,
it's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be fine. This is gonna be in my Rolodex tonight, though. But see, tonight I'm gonna be like, but we're gonna redo the binder in the group, so that's okay. That one's gonna be half checked off my list.
In the group. Yeah. That's how we're gonna say in the group. We're gonna redo the binder in the group. In the group. Okay.
You can use it for all kinds of things too.
Everybody's gonna have a binder. You're gonna have one for your freezer. Okay.
You can have one binder and just separate it with page divider things or like section dividers, because that's what I have. I'm gonna bring it in. I'm excited to bring my binder in. Now it's outdated, but we're gonna redo it. I feel like I'm on psychedelics right now with all this giggling happening. This is this is how it is though. This is how it is with real life. Real life is, we talk about
real life is a psychedelic.
It is really a psychedelic. Yeah, it really is. It's how it is. And you can't take everything so freaking seriously all the time either, because it's not. Oh gosh,
wasn't fun.
I don't know.
Wasn't fun at all. I used to people would say things. I'm like, Maria, if you had met me 10 years ago, you'd have been like, no, you're not doing a show with me.
I don't know.
I was monotone. So I was like Eeyore. Okay. So I would literally.
I can't even imagine that. Do you have a video? I need a video.
Oh my goodness. I think one time they came to the news station over here in my area.
Like this right here.
I was just like, literally that's how it would sound.
Like Ben Stein.
Literally.
Or like Ferris Bueller's Day Off when he played the T-shirt. He's like Bueller.
Oh,
you probably haven't seen that either, have you, Lord? No. You know what? We're just having a watch party. We're gonna have a Facebook watch party with all the movies that you should have seen over the years that you have failed at being able to watch.
I saw that that Raya the Last Dragon movie.
That's a good movie.
That was awesome.
With no shame, like cartoons with no shame, and that's a good one. My favorite is Princess and the Frog, though.
That I have to rewatch, but I did see that because I like.
My favorite.
I like those.
The music's on point.
But 10 years, give me a couple of years. I was monotone. I just did not like life. I hated everything about life my life.
Did you look all emo and walk around all sad?
I did walk around all sad. My posture was horrible. I didn't make eye contact with anyone. Anyone.
So hard to believe.
I know. But that's why I keep reposting those things that I used to write on Facebook, because I used to just complain every single day until I read that book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, that my sister was like, yo, you got to read this book. And I'm like, no. You know what I mean? I was like, no. And then eventually I read it. And from the first page, I was just like, what? I don't know. It just connected with me. And that's when I started to change my life. And so that's why now I have an inflection and everything. And now I get excited. And now I'm happy again. And it's just
So did you write a testimonial to him?
No. Should I?
You should. Yeah. You just literally told us the story about how depressed about everything you were. And then you just read that book. And that completely flipped your entire life around.
Yeah, it started.
As an author, an author wants to hear those things.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
so you should.
Hey, what's up, Eckhart?
Talk about the book. And talk about the book, because if it helped you, it's going to help so many other people.
Right.
Stacey says not Stacey, but Tina says she loves that book too. Stacey.
Oh, wicked! Right? You do have to read it over and over again.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm like that.
Yeah, and Deepak Chopra.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that on my show. I'm doing the 21-day meditation that's on Spotify. I did it already. I finished the 21 days, but what I'm doing right now is just listening to it over and over. And it's all about gratitude and grace, just over and over, because I think that's the thing too with just life in general. Like when we like complain and everything, like in that moment, like we're not conscious of like our place in the moment. Like we're just like, there's this problem, which is understandable. Like we're all going to have those moments, but it's when we get back to the grace and gratitude, we're like, oh, maybe this is happening because I need to grow in this sector. Or maybe this is happening because I need to learn patience. Or maybe this is happening because even though I want to control everything, I can't.
Yeah,
that's
check.
Okay. Like, because that's human nature, right? We want to be like, okay, I eat at this time. I use the bathroom at this time. I go to sleep at this time. I do everything we want to control. We want to control. And then the gratitude isn't, oh, yeah, maybe I can control some of those things, but some of those things are going to be unplanned. Some of those things are going to be spontaneous. And I need to appreciate that. Like,
and they all work together.
Yeah, that's the natural synergy of life. Right? Like, it's so crazy because I had to, like, I came from like, even like I grew so much in the last year from like when I left my job to now, totally different person. Like, totally different person.
Absolutely.
What is Oh, now we can see Tina.
Now Tina. I don't know what happened. You exited and you come back on as Tina, but. Oh yeah, so she's linked the article, and it is good. I've only done it one time. I haven't been done it in a loop. I need to do it again because I think that's the thing.
You too.
And yeah, I'll see you later, Tina.
Where y'all going? Y'all got a date later?
So we do. We got a date. We're gonna wear our matching dresses. No, we have the Indie Pods.
Wicked!
And so that's going to be coming up later this fall, winterish time. So that's coming up. So we're doing some more planning on that. Oh, so
wicked.
She came in on the page. That's why we can see her beautiful face. So yeah, planning on that and getting everything ready to go on that, which looking forward to it. It's going to be a great season. And if you don't know anything about Indie Pods, go to Indie Pods United Facebook page and like that.
Yeah, Tina, if you can, before you go, put the link for Indie Pods.
Yeah, that'd be great. So that way you can check that out because that's pretty awesome. And Stacey, you were a part of that last season.
Yeah, I got to join again. I got to be a part of it again. Oh my goodness. I enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed Indie Pods and I was grateful.
High energy. It was like I talked about this before. But when Tina first was like, oh, I want to do a 5-day event, 12 hours a day. I was like, girl. I was like, and we had like 6 weeks to plan it. Jesus. And I've done event planning, and Tina has too, but I was like, this is ambitious. This is ambitious. But it went really well. There was a few little, quirks and stuff. There's going to be every single time. And so that's why I think I'm more excited about this season because we've got more time to plan and, it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be good. So, there's that. So make sure that you go check it out. She may already be off here, but I'll try to remember to link. Yeah,
we got to put the Indie Pod thing in there.
So, but yeah, going back to, just what we were talking about, as hilarious as you think my binder is, my purpose for doing that went with my why. My why was to be able to have everything. So I'm not standing in there freaking out about what do I have, or I'm not looking at something that's gone bad because I forgot it was even in there, or because I know what my whys are, all my whys. And one of those is I don't like to waste. I don't like to waste money. I don't like to waste time. I don't want to waste food.
I
grew up with no money, and I've had times in my life I've had no money. I don't want to waste that,
Right.
And I want to, so that's one of my whys. And another one is I want to be able to go and do my meal planning for the week, or my meal prepping, or be able to throw something together, and know what I have. So and be able to spend more time with the kids or working on projects I need to work on. It goes back to what you were talking about earlier, Stacey, is time management. And for me, that was one thing that I know helped me a lot. And the reason it goes in Maria's Rolodex of nighttime woes is because I know how much it helped me, and I haven't got back to doing that, and I'm missing that section of my life. So, I think that goes back to what you were talking about, just about finding, really defining your why and kind of making that your mission for all the things you do.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. And I think, what's beautiful about this moment right now is because you guys on Business Acceleration Playbook yesterday, I remember Chanel was bringing up how important that mental real estate is. And by you having this binder, like, it is kind of funny, but
it is funny.
The beauty about that is you're freeing up mental real estate when you plan ahead. So when everything is organized, you don't have to process. That processing can be applied to something else. And that's what the importance is about it. Like, I remember, like, one of the things that, like, attracted me to Natasha is that she likes to organize. She loves to organize. And I realized that because my organizational skills are not the greatest, I can organize, but because somebody loves to do it, that makes it 10 times better, because they're going to be more likely to share those ideas with you and to make it fun.
Yeah. He's making some taglines. Move the bindings of business building with the business building binder.
I actually like that.
For sale for $19.95.
$19.95. Only 4 payments of $19.95. You too can have the business building binder. Our lines are open and ready to receive your call.
Perfect. That's good. So we have on the show in 43 minutes, we have done a lot. We've accomplished a lot today. We've built an entire business.
Yeah.
We've decided how to find your why. We've talked about, the relationship challenges that can happen when you ask your spouse or significant other.
Is everything okay?
What's wrong? Is everything okay? I feel like we've done a lot. I feel like we've accomplished a lot in this short 43 minutes that I'm really proud of us today. I really am. Yeah. So that's going to go in my gratitude for tomorrow. Be like, yesterday, we crushed that show.
Yeah,
we accomplished so much.
Spontaneity, okay? Like, we went full roller coaster, okay?
Yeah. That built into our why. Our why is to bring you inspiration. Our why is to bring you things to have gratitude about. Our why is to bring you business building. Call it Manila. See, it's happening. We're gonna do this, and we're doing
it's
it.
The new and improved Manila Thriller binder. It has sections
the Manila Thriller.
Your freezer, refrigerator, your pantry, and, ladies and gentlemen, new insert, your dishwasher. Don't you hate it? Don't you hate it when you don't know where that pot is? Where is it? It's in the dishwasher.
Oh, it's great.
God.
All jokes aside, I use something similar for the cafe for the inventory because it works. It works.
It does. I think it's funny, but it does. It's actually a good system. Especially, like, oh my goodness, like, I used to love binders, like just binders in itself, but specific ones. You know what's so funny? I used to geek out, and I still secretly do, during back to school. Because even though I'm not in school, but when I hear, like, they're like, oh, pens, pencils, I'm like, oh my God, like, those laminated sheets, like, you could put stuff in them. I was like, oh my God, it's like the 3-hole punch. Like, I get so excited about that stuff.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. I do too, because it's like I go back to school shopping for my kids, but really I'm the one going, oh, look at this one.
Like, is that a desk organizer?
I'll grab something and my daughter will be like, "Ooh, is that for me?" No, that's for me. That's for me. That one's mine.
It's like, yeah, no.
That's for me. That's not for you. That's for me.
Oh my goodness. I used to actually, like, after work, like, my fun to do thing was to go in Staples and just walk around and just see like
Staples.
what new posted. Like,
I love Staples. You know what I also like? Have you ever been to the Container Store?
Stop. I purposely did not go. I went in there once and I was like, I gotta get out of here.
No, I was like, no, it was bad. I was there with my husband and I was like, oh, I'm like, through the Container
Remember that
Store.
song, The Most Wonderful?
It is. That's me like skipping through there. And I would have bought so many things if he hadn't been with me, but he was with me, so I only bought some. Because that's also who I am as a person. If he's there, I control myself, but if he's not, I'm like shove stuff in the car, like sneak it into my closet, let it sit there for like a week, and then I distribute it out. He'll be like, "Where did this come from? I don't know. We've had it for a while."
Literally
because at that point, it has been a while.
Like literally, I don't know if it was last night or the night before, because Natasha and I were talking about redoing our office space because we're working on our show and blah blah blah. So I was just like, God, because I got like these papers, but I need to organize them. I had a dream that I went to the Container Store. I was dreaming about going to the store and looking at different like containers. And I'm like, and then I had a dream that like we were moving out. I don't know where we were moving to. Like, I don't know where we were.
You were just out. You were gone.
Yeah, like I was just like, and I had a dream. Yeah, I had a dream that everything was. I was like, oh my God, we actually don't have to pack because everything's organized already. Like that was my dream, Maria.
I'm dreaming it with you right now. Good. It's real good.
Crazy.
Like those are the things that I like daydream about. Like and I talk about this. I do. I talk about this even at home. Like I've told you, my house is hit right now. And I am one of those people that I like things organized.
Yes.
And I'll have like 5.9 minutes before I got to get the kids in bed to try to figure out how to organize my entire house, where the kids have been there way more hours than I have. And let's just say that they don't care about organizing. We'll just say it like that. Yeah. So they're the anti-organizers. They're the anti-organ. No, they're like, they rebel against it. They actually said I've ruined them.
They're teens.
Well, they said I've ruined them on it, and I might have. I don't know. But it's like, I like have to walk in like this, because I know. Oh my God, I can only imagine. But I daydream about everything being organized, and I daydream about having like a separate little cottage on my property behind my house where the family lives. And I just go out there at night and I retina scan myself in. That way it's only me that can get in there. Retina scan. No, I've had this all planned out. It's a retina scan to be able to get in, and then it's just organized and it's just containers. Oh my God. It'd be so great. But nobody's allowed in there ever. Nobody. My husband, I've told my husband, he's like, am I allowed in there? I'm like, no. He was like, you wouldn't let me in your cottage? I would not let you in my cottage. He got mad at me because I wouldn't let him in my fictional cottage that I don't have. So that's marriage for you, y'all. Oh my God. He was mad. He's like, I can't believe you would let me in your cottage. I'm like, it's not a real cottage. I'm like, it doesn't even exist.
I just see him like waving at the camera that you would have like installed, and you're like reading like some like home. What is that? The housekeeping magazine.
No, like there's also Better Homes and Gardens. My mom used to get that.
You're just like flipping through it in like your cottage, and he's just like, hey, he's got like a tray of food.
Yeah, like, I'm like, okay, it depends on what kind of
food.
Yeah, like the food.
Leave the food.
Yeah, I have like a microphone that comes down.
And he's just like, can I come in? Just leave the food.
Yeah, it is. I'm seriously though. It's like, good, great. Wouldn't that be amazing though?
It would.
Like just perfect temperature, just sitting there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, just climate controlled.
Yeah.
Smells like incense or like whatever you like.
Yeah. Just not kids. It would smell like not kids. That's what I would like.
It would smell like not kids.
Kids have their own smell. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just kids. It just smells like kids.
Like, teenagers? You ever smell teenagers?
Well, I wasn't counting that. Teenage smell is not good. It's either like hosed on, like cologne or perfume, or BO. That's like the two. You get one or the other. You get toxic fumes or straight up BO. And it's like it depends on the moment which one I prefer, honestly.
My mom my mom used to, like I would walk, like when I was a teen, like we would walk past her and she'd be like, I'm like, is she like a bloodhound or something, like, or like one of those dogs? Cause like, she'd be like, get over here. And I'm like, yeah. She'd be like, literally lift up your arm and smell it. She'd be like, this steak, get in the shower.
Moms have a sixth sense.
No.
Yeah. Did you fake shower?
Like, you beard from morning, your beard.
So like, did you ever get in there and just let the water go on you and then be like, that's good? Because my kids have gone out, they're like, pretend like they're all clean. Their hair is still dry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did you wash your hair? Yeah, I wash your hair. I'm like, really? So how did you do that?
My mom used to check washcloths, yo.
Yeah.
She used to count how many washcloths. She'd be like, oh my God, Maria. Now my memories go.
Mom, she's like mom expert level. She's like up here. She's like,
my mom is 10x mom.
Wash rag. Yeah. She's
Yep.
like, I counted them. Then I smelled them to make sure that you wash the appropriate parts.
Yeah.
Like going through all that. She was like, I know you only washed your left armpit. I can tell that you only washed your left armpit, not your right armpit.
Yeah, as a kid, like you don't really want to take baths. Like you don't. You just want to go about your business. So she used to like. So at the end of the week, she would do laundry like every Saturday. So you always know like when your mom calls you or your parent calls you when you're in trouble, right? So she would be like, Stacey? I'm like, yes, Mom. She's like, come down here. I'm like, shoot. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, there's 7 days in a week. You see 4 washcloths. Where the other one? Where's the rest of them? I'm like,
I did the laundry and folded it for you, Mom.
Yeah, it's like it's done already. Like I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, I didn't put them up there. So then me and my brother, like what we started to do is just like wet the washcloth.
That's what I said. That's what we would have done. It's like wet.
Yeah, just like you wet it and then you put it in there. Like I showered. You know what I mean? Because I just showered twice a day. I'm like, can I just do it once? Like, so then
that's a lot. Twice a day. Your mom was all
in the
about
morning, and in the evening, twice a day.
Lot. I did not do that. Apparently, I was a smellier child than you were.
Jamaican kids. Any Jamaican, you as the Jamaicans.
That's a roll.
Sometimes 3 times. Sometimes
Why?
If you go, well, the whole point is like when you go outside, like things can get on you.
Realize you don't have sand on you because you're not actually in Jamaica though. Because I can understand this like saying it's like you're all sandy, go hose yourself off, right? You go hose yourself, but it's not like you just like have, because you're like you're not.
Yeah, she was just like, yo, when you're coming from school, don't sit in the same clothes. You must change your clothes. You must get in the bathroom. You don't know you're up and down, and I'm like, all right. So
was it germs? She didn't want other people's germs. It just kind of makes sense.
It's literally called like the outside. Like that's how she like the outside. You don't want the outside inside.
You know what? That kind of makes sense. Kind of like I'm like over here thinking like, you know what? Your mom, she understood things about life that she was ahead of her time.
She was
ahead of her time.
She's like the Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting here
at first I was like, wait, 3 times. And then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Because you go out, people be coughing, have stomach bug, now COVID, all the things. So you come in, you change out of your dirty clothes, you can shower. You know what?
Yeah. She
had it going on. So Tina said, I got triggered and started power cleaning. Not kidding. They came into Stacey making interesting noises. No, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. I need to power clean. Here's another thing. I like to clean when nobody's there. Would never happen. That never happens. Yes. But I want nobody like go somewhere, leave me alone. I want to blast music and clean. Exactly. I actually like to clean. I know.
Me too. Like, oh I find it's a meditation. It's satisfying.
Yeah. But only if I can actually finish the job completely. Because the problem is when somebody's there, then they're touching things. I have to stop because somebody's thirsty or hungry or they get in a fight or who freaking knows. But it's like you have to stop. And then by that time, a job that should take 2 hours is taking me like 6 hours and I'm half done. And it's just like that point I'm just like, I can do the math on the rest of the house and know I'm not going to get done.
Right.
And that's depressing. And then that goes back to Maria's Rolodex on the things that I suck at night. So
yeah, sometimes when I clean, like I'll be like, okay, and then if like people are home and everything, then I do like parts of it. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, every time I look at it, I'm like, it's not clean yet.
Yeah.
Still not clean. I need to clean it. And I'm trying to find the time to do it. I'm like, it needs to get done.
I have like layers. I've had to develop this idea that it doesn't always have to be pristine at all times because it's not realistic for my life. It's not realistic with the kids. It's not a realistic part of my life. I would still love it, and I, daydream about my cottage with the retina scan, where it's pristine all the time. But it's not realistic with my life because other people live there. And I had actually, honestly, some of my kids even said it to me. They were like, just because you want things, this way, and just because you think this is the way it needs to be, we all live here. And I was like, because they're right. They do live there, and it's easy to sit there and say that, I don't mind having a lived-in house. Obviously, I have a very lived-in house, but I still beat myself up. And I think a lot of that goes back to, as a mom, as a mom, you look at all these like Pinterest-worthy homes, and somehow, they're all in like their stiletto heels and they're perfectly done makeup, and they're delivering the 17-course meal and that they, made from scratch, and they're managing all their businesses. Their kids look perfect and are sitting there well mannered, and in reality, that's not my life. We have our moments where there's like a corner of my life like that, but then the rest of it's like, and it's funny. My life is not Pinterest.
She said your life is a Pinterest.
My life is not a Pinterest. No, I have Pinteresty corners and Pinteresty moments, but I think that's it. I think most people do, and they just lie about it. Because that's the thing, if I'm focusing on getting this perfect right here, there's a freaking war zone going on back here because this is where my focus is. And that's what we were talking about, like even earlier, that my house is hit because I've been focusing so much on, the cafe opening and some different things. I've been, having to manage all that. And there's only so many hours in a day, and I have only got so much energy. So, it's kind of one of those things that I've had to decide that good enough is good enough on the house stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to start to focus some of the energy back over there because it's getting out of the good enough zone, though. It's getting in the zone where I have not got my pre-prep on, like I said, my binder done. I've fallen off the meal planning wagon, even though, I teach on that. And I fall off the wagon all the time, too. It's like I was doing real well for a while, and now I'm out of meals, and I haven't, been able to get the time to be able to make the meals again. And I can tell when I don't do it. It makes my life so much better.
Yeah, minimalism, absolutely.
Yeah, I love minimalism. Now, my children don't agree, so that's where the problem is. Maria loves minimalism. My children are hoarders, and this is terrible. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'm probably going to have people judge me, but sometimes I make my children watch episodes of The Hoarders. I'm like, this is what you're going to be. You will stop not throwing away the sparkly tag off of your jacket. This is your future.
I had to transition from that. I used to hoard, the sparkly tags. You know how the tag comes with the sticker, and you're like, I do know that. I might need this. I need it. Yeah.
That's my kids. So then I'm like, I sit them on the couch. I'm like, you're watching this. That's their punishment. They're watching Hoarders, and they're like,
oh my God.
I don't care because it is.
Going back to a horrible episode of Hoarders. This poor lady.
There's some really bad ones on there. And I'm sure some psychologist somewhere is going to be like, that's destroying your children, but I'm destroying them in 1,000 other ways too. So this will just add to it. It's fine.
They're going to be fine. Here's the thing. The functionality of the house is not going to make sense until they either live with somebody else or they live on their own. It's not going to make sense right now because you're on them. You're on them. It's not going to make sense right now. They're like, I don't get it. Oh, it's going to be got. It's going to be got because it got me. When I first moved out and everything, I was just like, oh no, no. This cannot happen.
This will not do.
Yeah. And then I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, I get it now. I get it. She's like, see? That's what I'm going to try to teach you. I'm like, what?
It's terrible how soon we realize there's stuff that I'll think and Springer remind myself really. It's funny. I think all the time I'm like, oh, I understand why Mom said this then. I understand why Mom did this then. It's like it all makes sense. And then I'm like, oh. Or I'll catch myself saying something my mom said.
That's
and
the
I'm
creepy part.
I'm like, I'll pretend my mother. Who is this coming?
It's so funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah. When you throw on Jerry Springer, it makes you think. Okay, it makes you really think.
You know what? This ain't so bad.
Yeah. You know what? Life ain't so bad. I can do this. I am
winning at life. I just found out
Yeah.
just now after watching this episode of Jerry Springer that I am winning at life. That's
Yeah.
great. I like that strategy. That's a great strategy to have. It's going to be gut. Yeah.
Okay.
Takes me to dark places. That's hysterical. So we are at 12:01. So it's time to end the show.
We had a lot of fun.
We did. This was a fun episode. I love, chatting. I love when, people in the, I guess, the audience, quote unquote, gets involved in the conversation, because that's what it's all about. It's about living life spontaneously, laughing. We talk about some serious stuff, but I like having fun. It makes me happy. All the purple hearts, you and your purple hearts. I do them black like my soul. So that's what I do.
I always put red hearts.
I go back and forth. I do red sometimes, but I typically do black because I like the black. But
every time I see somebody put a black heart, I'm like, what are you going through? Or the blue ones? I question the black and the blue ones. I'm like,
okay, well, you question me a lot then, because I like the black ones because that's actually my favorite color.
Oh, okay.
And yes, I know for all you artists out there, it's not a color, it's a neutral. I know, I don't care. I call it
it's not a color, it's a neutral.
It's not a color, it's neutral. I don't care. Call it a color. It's not a freaking crayon that you color with. It is a color in my vocabulary. So, all right. So we will be back again next Wednesday at 11 a.m. with more spontaneity. But until then, thank you again so much for being amazing, and try to live your life a little more spontaneously. Later.
Adios.